Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The important news and editorial that will be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 3rd of March. The first important news, that is India-Australia Security Partnership. We'll see the detail about the partnership and ongoing military engagement between India and Australia. Second is Centre formally outlined the Digital India Act 2023. We'll see some important details about this. Third, India-US to ink Memorandum of Understanding on Semiconductors. Again, something relevant for your examination. There's two editorial. The first from the Hindu, the ideal track to run India's logistics system. And the second editorial from Indian Express, making of a destination. So we'll see details about the part of the tourism sector that can have a boom. So apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful for examination purposes, do press a like button. And before beginning this session, just to tell you about the integrated test series. This is for UPSC CSC, where you will be provided with 30 prelims and 8 men's All India test. We'll be also providing free mentorship in this particular program. Test on previous year questions that include current affairs, CSAT and full length test. There's flexible schedules for the test that you can assign as per your convenience, and free current affairs IS Gazetted reputed magazine that will help you to excel in the current affairs. For more details, do refer to the description section of the video where I have provided a dedicated link to register yourself. Now starting with the news session, that is India's Australia Security Partnership, something important for General Studies Paper 2. It is bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. So recently we've seen that the Prime Minister of Australia is on a visit to India. The Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese. So he's there on India. There will be a lot more agreement that will be there between India and Australia. So he visited Indian Navy indigenous aircraft INS Vikrant at Mumbai, and termed the relationship between India and Australia as they are looking forward for more strategic partnership and strengthening the partnership to a larger extent. Now, India will set up in the participations where joint military exercises with Australia will take place, and the Prime Minister of Australia has categorically noted that this will be the top tier security partnership. Something very important. With Australia, India always had a cordial relationship. अगर बात करें bilateral relationship के terms में ऑस्ट्रेलिया के साथ बहुत सारी ऐसी एग्रीमेंट है, चाहे वो क्वाड की बात हो और मिलिट्री एंगेजमेंट हो, that has actually helped both the countries. Now they have visited a cricket ground which is there in Ahmedabad. Narendra Modi Cricket Stadium is the world's largest stadium where the test match between India and Australia was there, and he has also taken ride for the fighter jet also, which is there in the INS. Now, some defense exercises and engagement, that is there the part of bilateral relationship between India and Australia. Among them, the first is Malabar naval exercise, very important. Those of you will be appearing for CAPF examination, right? CAPF के aspirants के लिए काफी important and even relevant for the prelims examination. So Australia will host 23 operations Malabar exercise. This is for this particular year. Naval exercise with US, India and Japan. Indian Ocean की बात करें is central to both countries in terms of security and prosperity, where India has categorically noted that Indian Ocean and even the part of Indo-Pacific should be taken and considered in the benefit for all the member countries. The Malabar exercise began as an annual bilateral naval exercise between India and US in 1992. And has increased the scope and complexity over the years. So this is precise about the Malabar exercise. Now the second is Talisman Sabre exercise, where India will join Australia in the biennial exercise games for the first time. So this will be the first time that India will be joining, something factually important for exam. And it's a biennial multilateral exercise led by Australia and United States. So two countries, that is the major partner is in Australia and United States, and India will be joining this for this particular, that is for 2023. Now the other countries include Canada, Japan, New Zealand, South Korea, and United Kingdom. Economic and trade relations की अगर बात करें, if you see that in terms of trade relations between India and Australia, they're the 5th largest trading partner, with goods and services valuing up to 29 billion, representing close to 3.6% of the total Australian trade. And it is expected that the export has also reached up from 8 billion in terms of export, and import में 21 billion तक की value है वो दिखी गई. The two countries are also discussing the CECA, that is the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. And India-Australia CEO Forum is a mechanism for business where both nations directly engaged to build a bilateral trade and investment relationship. So if you see in terms of bilateral relationship, in terms of economic and trade relationship, it is also important that both countries are putting their impetus and somehow they're enlarging the accessibility of the export and import as well. Now, moving to the other news, Centre formally outlined the Digital India Act 2023, something important for General Studies Paper 2, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from its design and implementations. So recently, Union Government ने formally DIA, this is known as Digital India Act, को लाने की बात की गई है, बट इससे पहले डिस्कशन होनी है, एंड दिस इज ऑन टू ब्रॉड ओवरहॉल द इंफॉर्मेशन एक्ट ऑफ 2000, जो आईटी एक्ट है पहले से एग्जिस्ट कर इंडिया में, उस पर रिफॉर्म लाने के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने DIA, दैट इज डिजिटल इंडिया एक्ट 2023 लाने की बात कही है, राइट. So policy advocates and legal expert has said that there will be a broad consensus that will be made in terms of definitions. तो जो स्टेक होल्डर्स है उनसे कंसल्ट की जाएगी, जो इंटरनेट इंटरमीडियरीज हैं उनको सेफ हार्बर देने की जरूरत है या द गवर्नमेंट वुड बी विड्रॉइंग इट, सो एवरीथिंग विल बी टेकन इनटू कंसिडरेशन. आई विल टेल यू व्हाट इज द सेफ हार्बर इन अ बिट later part of the video. That the government will have a multiple round of consultation before the act is brought in the parliament. Now, key aspects of DIA की अगर बात करें, so in terms of Digital India Act, this is for 2023, which will be soon there in the parliament. This will call for the important aspect like artificial intelligence, which is very important. Deepfakes, जिसकी काफी ज्यादा concern global level पे रही है. Cyber crime, which is something which is existing for a long. Competition issues of internet platforms and the data protection, right? So these all things will be taken into considerations. Now, goal की अगर बात करें DIA की, जो डिजिटल इंडिया एक्ट है, the new law should go through several rules and part of the thing that will be addressed, that will be the tenets of Digital India Act, will include open internet. Internet will be the part. Online safety and trust, accountability, where we need to ensure that everyone has certain set of responsibility. Quality of services will be there. Adjudicatory mechanism, जहाँ पे grievances cell already India ने बनाया हुआ है. I will give you the details about the grievances cell also. The recent inceptions of the grievances cell. I think most of you must be able to connect with the 3 grievances cell. The new technological part. Now, safe harbor principle की अगर बात करें, this is something important both for your prelims and mains examination, right? So you might be asked about a question. So safe harbor की अगर बात करें, IT Act section 69. This is for the IT Act 2000, right? There was a section called section 79, which was introduced for the safe harbor, which provide immunity to the protected intermediaries that was held liable for the third party content, right? Provided that the intermediaries observed a due diligence and prescribed by the central government. अगर उसने norms follow की है और किसी तरह से अगर कोई protections या फिर even immunity heard, the part of the safe harbor is there, where the concept encapsulate the part जहाँ पे इन intermediaries को protection दी जाती है via section 79. And if something mishappens, they will not be directly liable for it. So this is called a safe harbor. The government is reconsidering a key aspects of cyberspace, जहाँ पे safe harbor की जो principle है उसको continue रखना है, whether there will be some other guideline provisions that will be there in terms of internet, and the responsibility of third party will also be set upon. So that will be again a point of consideration when the complete ministries will have a consultation and a detailed report will be there in the parliament. This principle will allow the social media platform to avoid liability for the post made by the users. Now, reform in digital laws की अगर बात करें, definitely this is something which was essentially required. The Ministry of Electronics and Information has been working on the draft Digital India Bill to replace the old version, or you can say the previous version of IT Act 2000, to address the challenges posed by the internet today, right? So this is something essentially required. We're seeing the change that is there in terms of the digital currency, in terms of the fraud that is taking place. So these laws definitely need to be reformed, and otherwise bill that is regulating India is the IT Act of 2000. Now, the Grievance Appellate Committee, this is what I was talking about. There was recently, the Union government has come up with 3 Grievance Appellate Committee based on the recommendations and on the amended part of the Information Amendment Intermediaries and Digital Media Ethics Code guideline. और इन ग्रीवांस एपलेट कमिटीज को रूल 3 ऑफ आईटी एक्ट 2021 के एम्बिट के अंदर बनाया गया है. These 3 grievance committee will now be able to establish to take up the content complaints of the social media users, and even their durations to complete the grievances is also assigned. तो एक limited period में सारी grievances को address करनी mandatory होंगी. Now, India-US to ink Memorandum of Understanding on Semiconductor, something very important. This is important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic of General Studies, that is effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interest and India's diaspora. तो India और US की बात करें, recently a Memorandum of Understanding was signed between India and United States in semiconductors for the cooperations in semiconductor, and semiconductor is definitely a potential sectors which will definitely help both the countries. अगर semiconductor की specifically बात करें, government की कई schemes हैं. The recent one is among the PLI scheme, the Production Linked Incentive Scheme. I'll tell you the detail about this in a bit in the later part of the video. The move will help to play a greater role in the diversifying the supply chain, जहाँ पे opportunity explore की जाएगी, and even there will be the ventures और टेक्नोलॉजिकल पार्टनरशिप. और ये जो पार्टनरशिप होगी वो दोनों कंट्रीज को हेल्प करेंगी टू एस्टैब्लिश द टेक्नोलॉजी पार्टनरशिप, जॉब ट्रेनिंग, रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द पार्टनरशिप. नाउ, इंडिया यूएस स्ट्रैटेजिक ट्रेड डायलॉग की अगर बात करें, बोथ कंट्रीज हैव रिसेंटली लॉन्च्ड अ न्यू इनिशिएटिव known as India-US Strategic Trade Dialogue, which is also known as STD. And this will focus on aligning the export and control regime for both countries on critical technology. जो नई technology जितनी emerged हुई है, even ISET which was there by India and US is something very important. A recent collaboration was made between both countries. तो इस तरह के जो contemporary examples हैं, recent के examples, if you are a aspirant who are having PSIR as an optional subject, make sure you are incorporating all these examples. Now, some policies measure that was taken by both इंडिया एंड यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स. ऐसे कौन कौन से मेजर्स हैं जो दोनों इंडिया और यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ने लिए हैं? दैट इंक्लूड द PLI, दिस इज व्हाट आई वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट, द प्रोडक्शन लिंक इंसेंटिव स्कीम फ्रॉम इंडिया, राइट? This is something that will help in the part of the chip productions, and even financially backing will be there. And the US has recently unveiled chips and science art to help and rebuild the manufacturing and supply chain. और ये दोनों initiatives हैं जो दोनों कंट्रीज के अलग अलग इंटरप्रेन्योर्स या वहाँ के जो मार्केट है, माइक्रो स्मॉल एंड मीडियम सेक्टर्स, इवन द इंडस्ट्रीज विल बी हेल्प, एंड द डिपेंडेंस ऑफ चाइना विल बी कर्व्ड आउट. सो दीज आर द मेन इंटेंशन बिहाइंड द कोलैबोरेशन. नाउ, इंडिया सेमीकंडक्टर इंडस्ट्रीज की अगर बात करें, द करंट वैल्यू ऑफ द सेमीकंडक्टर इंडस्ट्रीज इज अ वर्थ ऑफ 27.2 billion for 2021. This is for the last year. And it is projected that India's semiconductor industries will grow by $64 billion by 2026, representing a compound annual growth of 19%. So CAGR की अगर बात करें, CAGR, right? So this will be by 19%. Very important point. Take a note of this and even use this. So in terms of the lucrative market of the chip vendors, you can see these are the company that is using with the market share, Intel holding the largest marketing share, followed by Samsung Electronics, then the SK Hynix, Micron Technology, Qualcomm, which is like mostly building chip for the cell phones, Broadcom, Texas Instrument, MediaTek, and other companies. So these are the market. The demand of semiconductor is massively going to increase by 2026 and coming years. Now, this is the first editorial for the day. That is the ideal track to run India's logistics system, something important for general studies paper 3, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So what I'll be discussing under this editorial, first the theme of this editorial is India's logistic policy. Some of the important part include PM Gati Shakti missions, freight movement, major items of the freight movement, rise in the container traffic, challenges and the way forward. यूनियन बजट की बात करें, जो प्रेजेंट यूनियन बजट है, दिस इज फॉर 2023 and 24. In the budget, the government has doubled the allocation for the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. डबल का मतलब है जहां पे पहले 5,000 रुपीज थी उसको बढ़ा करके 10,000 रुपीज किया गया. सो दिस इज द अमाउंट दैट हैज बीन डबल्ड एंड इवन it has announced the outlay of 2.4 lakh crore rupees for Indian Railway. This is something very important point to be noted, that how government of India is looking the part of the logistic development. Now, the transformative approach की बात करें for the economic growth and sustainable environment, it is very important that we need to build our railways, the first, second airport, पोर्ट, मास ट्रांसपोर्ट, वाटरवेज और लॉजिस्टिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर हमें बिल्ड करने की जरूरत है. दिस इज इनहेविटेबल फॉर द ग्रोथ एंड द प्रोग्रेस ऑफ द लॉजिस्टिक इन अदर कंट्री. नाउ अदर इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट अगर बात करें, पीएम शक्ति मिशन इज समथिंग वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. द रेलवे ऑफर एन एफिशिएंट एंड economic mode of logistic movement given a pan-India network. The PM Gati Shakti missions aim for increasing the share of railway in the freight movement, that is from 27% to 45% by 2030. So this is again an important point that you can take a note of. The missions provide for right platform, जहाँ पे infrastructure challenges जो हैं, खास करके जो infrastructure challenges लॉजिस्टिक पार्ट में उसको खत्म करने के लिए एंड इवन टू इम्प्रूव द पार्ट ऑफ द मूवमेंट वाया रेलवे विल बी टेकन केयर ऑफ. और ये एक इंपॉर्टेंट सेगमेंट है जो कि पूरी तरह से कोऑर्डिनेट करेगी लॉजिस्टिक सिस्टम को इन द कंट्री एंड इवन द चेन्स विल आल्सो बी कनेक्टेड इन द पार्ट ऑफ इम्प्रूविंग द लॉजिस्टिक्स. नाउ द फ्लाइट मूवमेंट की अगर बात करें, देयर आर सर्टेन पार्ट एंड इवन द डेटा सेज दैट दिस मूवमेंट हैज बीन इम्प्रूव्ड. अगर रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट की बात करें, फ्रॉम रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट ओनली 65% of the freight movement is taking place. So most of them are taken care by the roadways, which has a lot more logistic cost. अगर बात करें यहाँ पे diesel, the fuel that is there and the part of the manpower that is there is something high. तो इसे replace करने के लिए we should have something which is relevant and even on that part logistic cost escalations भी कम हो सकती है and this can be replaced via railway. तो railway की अगर improvement की जाए infrastructure development में, so this can brought a lot more competitiveness in India's logistic part and the system. Now looking at the comparable cost, a different form of transportation suggests that the freight movement have higher cost in the road sector, nearly twice the rail. तो rail की मुकाबले this is twice the cost of the roadways. So if it is the part of the railways improved, they will have definitely reduced dependence on the roadways and a lot more amount can be saved for an individual. Major items of freight movement की अगर बात करें, कौन कौन सी ऐसी items हैं जो कि freight movement में ज़्यादा comprise करती हैं, उनके component है. The first is coal, it constitute 44% being the highest. उसके अलावा this is followed by the iron ores which is there, cements, food grain, fertilizers, iron ore and steel. तो ये सारी चीजें हैं जो कि एक फ्राइट मूवमेंट लॉजिस्टिक्स में सबसे ज्यादा ट्रांसपोर्ट की जाती है. सो दीज आर द आइटम्स एंड द परसेंटेज हैज बीन कैटेगोरिकली मेंशन. नाउ द ट्रांसपोर्टेशन ऑफ द नॉन बल्क कमोडिटीज अकाउंट फॉर वेरी स्मॉल शेयर इन द रेल फ्राइट मूवमेंट. नाउ राइज इन द कंटेनर ट्रैफिक, रिसेंट टाइम में ये देखी गई है कि कन्वीनियंस के मुताबिक नॉन बल्क कमोडिटीज में भी कंटेनर की जरूरतें बढ़ी हैं. एंड इन द लास्ट decade was seen that from 7.6 million in 2018 ये बढ़ करके 16.2 हो गई है एंड दिस इज बीइंग मेजर्ड इन 20 फुट इक्विवेलेंट यूनिट कॉन एज TEU. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. TEU इज अ यूनिट ऑफ कार्गो कैपेसिटी. सो देयर कैन बी अ डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन इन द प्रीलिम्स एग्जामिनेशन. दे कैन आस्क यू TEU, that is 20 foot equivalent unit, is related to what? It is related to the container traffic or the part which is measured. Now some challenges अगर बात करें, infrastructure is something a big challenge. हमें ज़रूरत है infrastructure को सुधारने की, where infrastructure maintenance, good shed and warehouse should be there. Operations पे ध्यान देने की ज़रूरत है, where high network congestions, lower services level or increased transition time पे काम करने की ज़रूरत है. Connectivity need to be improved with integrated and first line stored connectivity. and even the part of the damage due to handling and increased inventory cost should be reduced. So these are the challenges that need to be taken care both by the government as well as the stakeholders. So both government and other stakeholder can take their stand on this. Way forward में you can write that the upcoming dated freight corridor along with India's eastern and western corridors multimodal logistic park की अगर बात करें, this is oversaturated, right? So these things need to be improved, and an integrated logistic infrastructure will have a last milestone connectivity जहाँ पे ये competitiveness बढ़ाने के साथ साथ facilitate करेंगे export को भी, and even for other countries like Nepal and Bangladesh. And increased adaptations of railway cargo movement is crucial improvement for India's logistic competitiveness. To a nutshell, we need to improve the part of the railways infrastructure and augmenting the overall transportation and logistics via railways. Now, moving to the second editorial of the day, that is making a destination. Important for General Studies Paper 2, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from its design and implementations. So what I'll be discussing in this editorial, that is the tourism sector and its potential. We'll see the call for collaboration, some recent projects by Government of India, technology और tourism कैसे collaborations में काम कर सकती हैं, and the way ahead. Now, in the recent time, it has been seen that जो India की tourism है, that is the most acclaimed tourist place across the globe. And most of the tourists are finding this the place to be place where countries अगर बात करें पूरे data की, so this is a country visited for a long period, not only for this year. कोविड के पहले भी इसकी परफॉर्मेंस काफी अच्छी रही है. A major tourist destination in the world, where tourism sector is going to be the key axis development in the coming years. तो इस तरह की जो commendable performance रही है tourism sector की, वो इंडिया के growth के लिए एक precedent set कर सकती है. The Prime Minister has reiterated the importance of tourism in driving the growth, and the union budget has outlined the path for the development of tourism in a mission mode. Government has taken a lot more initiative, but that has also outlined, some of them are significantly made a progress and some are aligned to make the progress. Now, India की G20 presidency की अगर बात करें, जहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट ने 50 destinations across कंट्री बनाए हैं, और इसमें टूरिज्म सेक्टर को प्रमोट करने की बात की गई है, इंप्रूविंग द ग्लोबल रैंकिंग, वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम्स और टूरिज्म डेवलपमेंट के इंडेक्स में भी. सो दिस इंडेक्स एंड रिपोर्ट्स इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर योर प्रीलिम्स एग्जामिनेशन. नाउ कॉल फॉर कोलैबोरेटिव एफर्ट्स की बात की गई है. Not only government, but there's a need for PPP, that is a public-private partnership that will hold the government accountable. And even अगर टूरिज्म सेक्टर को ग्रोथ करनी है तो ये सेक्टर्स में कोलैबोरेशंस काफी ज्यादा जरूरत है. इवन द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ टूरिज्म इज 10% ऑफ द टोटल एम्प्लॉयमेंट डायरेक्टली एंड 8% टू द ग्रोथ. So 10% is the part of the job that will be given, and 8% contribution will be there to the GDP, right? And this call for 6 theme development that include convergence, public-private partnership, creativity, innovations, digitalization, and development of destinations, which is there in the part of G20 summit for the recent year. और पावर फॉर कोलैबोरेशंस, गवर्नमेंट के साथ प्राइवेट सेक्टर, लोकल कम्युनिटीज, इन सारे लोगों की एक पॉजिटिव इफेक्ट होती है पूरे सोसाइटी में, ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट एंड प्रमोशंस ऑफ द टूरिस्ट प्लेस. सम रीसेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स की अगर बात करें, काशी केदारनाथ आर द प्रोजेक्ट. इवन द स्टैच्यू ऑफ यूनिटी इज समथिंग दैट वाज ऑफ नेशनल एक्लेम. काशी विश्वनाथ धाम व्हिच वाज रिसेंटली रेनोवेटेड. उसके अलावा द न्यूली साइट दैट इज डेवलप्ड इज द स्टैच्यू ऑफ यूनिटी, and renovations of Mahakaleshwar Jyotirlinga temple in Ujjain, and the upcoming temple, you can say that is basically a temple that is Ayodhya Ram Janmabhoomi. So that is also building up. So all these efforts will definitely call for a lot more tourism in the specific region. Now, technology and tourism is something that will be giving more boost, and it will be acting as a catalyst. So technology can act as a catalyst here. So tourism and this go hand on hand. और ट्रैवल एक्सपीरियंस की बात करें, दिस इज बिकमिंग मोर पर्सनलाइज, इंप्रेसिव एंड इंटरेक्टिव. चाहे वो ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी है या वर्चुअल रियलिटी है, इसके थ्रू भी हम जो चैलेंजेस हैं या फिर डेस्टिनेशंस के जो पार्ट है उसको और एक्सप्लोर कर पाएंगे, प्रोवाइडिंग मोर वर्चुअल टूर्स and part of the famous tourism, historical site and cultural experiences. So this is how the technology can bridge the gap which is existing. And a AI powered chatbot, digital assistants can have helping the travelers, trippers, recommending their personalized activities, offering them real-time assistance while traveling. So these are the things which will definitely call for the promotions of tourism. Now, way ahead, unlocking India's immense tourism potential require comprehensive strategy. So there's a need for a comprehensive strategy which call for 6 pillars, that is planning, place, people, policies, processes, and promotion. So these are the 6 P's that need to be followed and effectively need to be followed, covering the important parts that include destinations and management, infrastructure development, जो कि already government existing policies के साथ कर रही है, sustainability and safety is very important, development of human capital, there it called for job and other activities, right, policies and process intervention. So all 6 P's with call for an amalgamations and in a coordinative effort that will call for a lot more potential of the tourism sector, contributing to the national GDP and calling for a lot more employment opportunities. So this is how you can conclude your answer in the way forward. Moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day, before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question, the correct option is B. Today's MCQ for practice, आपको बताना है sugar industries के बारे में. India is the largest sugar producer in the world. Government has been encouraging the sugar mill to divert the sugar from ethanol blending. So do check it out for the correct option. The second is about the Nobel Prizes. The prizes handed with a gold medal and a diploma. Only new Nobel laureates are eligible to submit their nominations for the Nobel Prizes. So do check it out for the correct option. Practicing a lot more question will give you an edge. We have a lot more platform where we are coming up with the MCQ questions, so do check it out. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.